Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's new episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and Friends. As you can see, we brought a bunch of friends here. We have two massive topics to get into. We have, of course, the Nintendo Switch 2 drama continues. Obviously, again, we don't talk politics here. It's a big no-no, but the tariffs were supposedly lifted or paused for 90 days. I've been going back and forth online with a person on X called Jake Randall. He is a big Nintendo guy, and he obviously has helped, if not thousands, I'd say tens of thousands of people find pre-orders. Kind of very similar to what you see Hazardor Gaming do. Of course, Wario 64 is another great one for links. And I've been, watching him. He's been doing live streams regarding it. And again, we do know that the Switch 2 pre-orders at $449 and at $499, including Mario Kart World, were paused here and in Canada. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of days. And of course, the good and bad news of Xbox today, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. We have an official confirmation of the June showcase, which, folks, I'm here to tell you, it's time to get excited. And I know we're only in April. It's going to be a massive show. And I have heard behind the scenes that they're looking to make it better than last year's. And honestly, I don't know how that's possible. Both Hargeet and King David and many of our peers were ass in seat, and it was incredible. The bad news is that the in-person event has been canceled. Oh, no Fan Fest in 2025. Folks, I got some thoughts. And of course, they're going to be honest. They're going to be earnest. But before we get into that, as we await Kay Asante, who's doing some daddy duty stuff, he'll be here momentarily. King David, what's going on, brother? How you feeling?
I'm fantastic. I missed you guys, especially my guy Hard Geek. Very, very rarely do I get a chance to podcast with him, but he's all over the place. So I'm watching him like every other night, like, okay, he's popping up here, he's popping up there. I mean, you guys are the hardest working guys. I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, Boom has a million shows. He does a ton of work. I'm gonna miss him this year, but we'll get into that. But I'm gonna get a chance to see my guy Hard Geek, and we're gonna figure this thing out. We're going to really figure this thing out. But I'm super excited at what Xbox and Microsoft has for us. Been really looking forward to it. It's kind of a no-brainer. The June show is definitely a thing, is a staple. They believe in this. And I'm glad that they're one of the few that actually understands what E3 used to mean and what it represents. So they are showing up with presence, and they're showing up in force. And that they're supposed to one-up what they did last year. I mean, these guys have been on a tear. Every year has been something to behold, and every year we say we don't know how they're going to do it, but they find a way. So I honestly believe that this year is going to live up to that level of expectations, because I do have a couple of little insider tips that might pan out. So I'm not a leaker or anything like that, but I expect it to be exactly as I heard it to be. Awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be bigger. It's going to be better. Unfortunately, it's going to be digital. There's no inside, boots on ground, ass and seat event, which is, again, disappointed, Hargeet, because one of the things that any content creator will tell you that has been to one of these events, and of course, that is King David, Hargeet, that is many people, Fonz has been there, that blue number, Holly, Ben Kenobi, who makes the coins. It's so many of them. And one of the most fun things is being in person with everybody, like literally, sitting down, having dinner. Like, we got to hang out with John from Xbox Era and his wife. She made the trip. Unfortunately, poor John was sick most of the.
Yeah, he got me
everybody sick,
the hell with
except
that.
for me. I walked away unscathed because thanks to Airborne, I should get a sponsorship by those guys. How much I use, but Hargeet. Hello, sir. Welcome back, brother. Great to have you here. Again, good news and bad news. Again, if you're an Xbox fan, it's time to get excited. If you were making the trip, a lot of people have canceled because, again, Xbox decided to not have their annual fan fest. Everyone has some thoughts and some theories. Of course, I'm going to be a gentleman about it, but I am disappointed. How you feeling, brother? Welcome.
Yeah, good enough. It's great to be with King. We do rarely get together and podcast, but yeah, yeah, it is kind of disappointing. Maybe we'll talk about some potential for doing something different. It's I don't know why they need to cancel this to cut costs. Like, it's okay.
I got a theory, but we'll talk about it.
Whatever. No, there is a potential that maybe like they're saying they're going to do FanFest anyway, but like so
Yeah.
they just do something in Gamescom time frame, or maybe they'll do something later or whatever. But they might be shifting focus to one of those. They did Gamescom pretty big last time. They all did the June showcase thing. The only thing is like Gamescom is there's not a lot of announcements. They don't have a show, right? And so it's not like you get to sit there and have that group, shared experience of
Yes.
watching them reveal everything. So that kind of is not as cool. I don't. It'd be another thing if they said, you know what, we're just not gonna do that in June anymore. We're just gonna do that at Gamescom. Okay, that'd be cool, because then it would make sense to have everybody just go to Gamescom, right?
Right.
Gamescom's huge, right? It's what was it, like 15,000-20,000, something ridiculous people.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of people there, a lot of fans, right? It's actually a fan-based event, not just a publisher-based event. So it's an interesting thing to maybe move towards. But man, it's somewhat disappointing to find out now, right? But yeah, we'll see if there's anything still happening as far as watching this showcase. I would just recommend, if they're going to switch away from doing this, that they really should just take the showcase and move it to Gamescom as well, and then have everybody be there to kind of enjoy that together. Now that, I mean, you also have to look at Xbox as not just for the platform Xbox, right? It is essentially for a lot of other players, right? A lot of their publishers are going to put games everywhere. There might be exclusives, that's fine, but there are a lot they're not going to be. And, for those players, they're probably going to want to attend this because they're going to get tons of games from this, right? Call of Duty being a headliner almost every time is going to be there, right? But you have other games that are going to just show up, and it might be a good show for everybody. So this is it's something I hope they think about when they go forward. I'm kind of disappointed that they decided to cancel the FanFest shared experience. I don't know if there's going to be anything in lieu of that, like if they might do something with media. So if they're doing that, then that's fine. For media, that's not so fine as far as the reactions. It might be there, but a lot of the media is also not just, I mean, Boom, you were there to watch, and you watched it and you enjoyed it. A lot of the media is there to watch and start, actually putting out the word of what's happening, right? So they're there on the job, and they're not necessarily paying attention just to the content. They're paying attention to the content so they can translate that into stuff that they can put out for everybody else to consume, right? And that takes away from the surprise, oh my God moments that you just get, right? Where there's an actual reaction, right? I just harken back to my videos of the crowd reactions, and all of that is because we were there as fans watching, not just to say, I'm gonna start typing out my next blog post on this. It's, oh my God, they just showed this, and the reaction of the crowd is there, right? Because they're fans. So I don't know if that gets lost. We'll see, right? It used to be E3 was just media too, but then they added fans and all that, whatever, and then they would switch back, whatever, right? So it's possible it might still be good. I'm somewhat disappointed in that. So we'll see if that it works out. But I would, if they're gonna do this, I'd love them to move the whole bloody thing to Gamescom. And
See, for me, I hope they don't do that, because
there.
they're going to alienate all of their American fans, because no one has $3,000 to spend on a trip. So it's
not $3,000 to go to Germany.
It'd be
Is
just
that
as
bad?
much. Yeah.
No, it's people inflate things mentally. It's not. I mean, okay, we got Casante, and he can actually tell you.
Yeah, he went there, right?
Yeah,
he went last year. Welcome back, Casante. First of all, you don't have to get the price, obviously, but it's expensive, and I think that moving the whole thing over,
LA,
it would be alienating everyone in this country that don't. I don't feel like going to Germany for an Xbox show. I'll stay home and cover it. And of course, I miss out on the shoulder to shoulder contact with people and the excitement. I think that they should leave things where they are, because then if they move it to Germany, that means that there's no June showcase. And
See, I got to give a ton of pushback on it because nobody understands exactly why. I know exactly why everything is moved from that, whole event thing. I know exactly why the things is happening exactly how it's happening. First, this is the 10th anniversary. That's one. All right. So the 10th anniversary, they're going to do like this big bash type of thing. And whenever you initiate the topic, I really have like a ton of information on it that's actual like factual information that can like put to rest a couple of things. Of course, people is going to be upset with things because nobody likes change, but LA is costly. LA is a hell of a costly place. And the thought process in thinking that Germany is more costly is ridiculous. And is another thing about that. It's the same amount of flight time for me. 6 hours is 6 hours.
It's roughly about the same cost if you think about it. It's rough, like added the hotel rooms and all the food. It's like for like. You'll end up spending about the same amount.
Hey, Asante, how you feeling, kind sir? Welcome, brother.
Thank you. I apologize. I'm late. I was scrambling, canceling trip. No, I'm just kidding. I too was very sad, to hear what's going down. But it is what it is, and there are other things afoot, which I'm sure we will discuss. So yes.
Well, listen, you know what? Let's get right into that because obviously everyone's going to have a lot to say. Okay, so June 8th is going to be the Xbox event, and as we said in the opening, King David and I have connections and some of the same connections, and we are under the assumption and belief that they're going to somehow outdo what they did in 2024. Honestly, us all being there, and we were all in that audience. We were all in that auditorium, the Microsoft Theater, and it was a spectacle. It was something to be seen. Reliving it in my head, through pictures that I've been posting on social media and remembering, like, for instance, I don't think I've ever been a part of a reaction that was that intense and fun and people were emotional than the Gears of War E-Day announcement. Like the crowd was exploded. Like it was unbelievable. Like I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. And obviously they're going to somehow, according to, some people that we know, they're going to one up it, so to speak. I don't think there's going to be any hardware here this week, this year, or in the digital event, simply because that whole hardware situation where we all thought it was 2026 is 2027. So I would imagine that next year's event they'll have hardware to show, but they still have a bunch of games from studios that they are working with behind the scenes and their own first party that we haven't spoken about. So this is again, I'm going to just pass the puck and you guys, do your thing. You're all podcast professionals. So, you take it however you want to go. And second half of the conversation that I'd like you guys to address is the fan disappointment. Because this, again, when you book a flight in advance and we're all anticipating that the 8th, because obviously Summer Games Fest has already been confirmed. So we all kind of figured on that Sunday was going to be the event. So most of us booked our flights, most of us booked our lodgings and our hotels, so we can not only get it at a good price, but not be left out, just in case seats sell out or lodging sells out. But I got to be honest with you. I understand, King, that you have it on good authority. There's a reason for it. I still think, and I'll say this, and this is not, again, I give Microsoft smoke when I believe it's necessary, and I believe it's necessary now to say something. I think it's a bad look. I really do. I think that, yes, there are other avenues that you can celebrate the 10th anniversary of FanFest, but this is so monumental that I kind of feel that it's a disservice to the fans here. Because let's say, for instance, King is right. Let's just say that Germany, because Gamescom is massive, make no mistake. You're going to take what was normally a June event, an event here where people flew in from other countries, and now it's being moved to another country, and then a lot of people, because again, we got to be honest with the way the times are. I think that this is, again, it's the 10th anniversary. So I think it's special enough that it can be celebrated multiple times. And I will say, I in my heart, I think it is a really, really bad look for Xbox to cancel this event. That's just me. They're not canceling June. You know, the showcase is happening, but the fan event, they're one of the few publishers that actually care about the fans, right? And this has always been a part of their DNA. And I kind of feel like it's a little cheap to cancel the event, in my opinion. And of course, I'm disappointed. Again, I'm not gonna throw poo at them or anything. It just is what it is. I'm in my feels, and I'm disappointed because this is something that I would not fly out to LA to go to Games Fest, Summer Games Fest, Keeley show. I don't think it's that important of a show. I will go to the show if I'm there. I'll buy the ticket, but I'm not going to fly out to LA for it. Same thing with IGN Live. IGN Live was a lot of fun last year. It had very old school E3 vibes, but I'm not flying out to LA and spending $2,000 to go to IGN Live. I'm not going to do that. So it is a bit of disappointing, but King David, let's bring you in. And obviously, you take this however you want. The excitement for the showcase, and of course the disappointment and or where they're going to take this thing in 2025.
Well, I'm super excited for the show. They have a ton of properties that they can delve deep into. I know some stuff like with Starfield. What is that other StarCraft, World of Warcraft. We're going to get the obligatory Call of Duty stuff that's going to, definitely pop up. But we got a heads up exactly from them with the Outer Worlds 2. And then we saw, IGN's coverage on some of the stuff from the Outer Worlds 2. And I'm looking forward to that. So they pretty much got a couple of things out of the way. That's letting you know how much stuff they do have in tow. It's not about if they're going to show something. It's about, damn, what else can they show? Like, they're going to keep going. Tony Hawk launches in July. All right, so then what other IPs that you have that you're bringing back that you have in tuck? Is it the Transformers? Do you know if they do that? More than meets the eye.
People are going to jump out of they explode.
Lose their mind.
I'm one
Absolutely crazy. And the fact that we're going to have the Transformer G.I. Joe movie, that stuff will pop up. It's a ton of stuff that they can actually go into many different directions and many different areas. Do they show more Gears of War? Do they show more Perfect Dark? Or do they show more Fable? From what I hear, Fable is going to fall back to next year because they have way too many things to be dropping. And the disappointment, I can just get into the fact that there's really no disappointment on my part with the FanFest thing. FanFest is a crapshoot for anybody that doesn't know. It's not assuring for anybody.
Oh no, of course not. Yeah,
a lot of us, we have avenues to get into FanFest because of our connections to doing so. But what people don't understand is the dynamic has severely changed. When E3 had changed from the original owners and purveyors of it from years ago. Remember, I've been going to E3 for the last 8 years. This would be Cog's been going for 9 years. I've been going for 8 years. This would have been my 9th year, and it would have been his 10th year. Now, how E3 is set up for people that don't know is, before FanFest used to be, you go sleep inside a mall, and it was a small group of people, and then they got in, right? That was the first year for COG. Then the next year, we slept in the mall, more people showed up, then they did a raffle. All right, so it wasn't guaranteed. And there was a lot of people that slept out inside this mall 24 hours and didn't get in. All right, so then, they decided to step it up years later after that and gave it to a worldwide raffle because people found out about this thing, how they was giving away so much merch. And they used to give away a ton of merch. That was when E3 was closed, and it was only for FanFest people. You get a chance to go to the show, and then you got a chance to mingle with the journalists. Journalists had their time. Then they opened it up to the public. Sony backed out, Nintendo backed out. The moment that thing happened, you saw the death knell. Then somebody leaked all the journalists' information. They leaked their address, their phone
Their
numbers,
phone numbers are
every
bad.
damn thing.
Yeah.
They was getting death threats. Totally disgusting nature for that to happen. So of course the journalists pulled back from E3. So everybody pulls back from E3. COVID happens. That thing got canceled that 1 year. Oh yeah, so we missed 1 year. I went 7 years. And then we came back the next year. So COVID happens, and then they started doing this remote thing, and they did the first digital show, and then they was doing a viewing party or something, and it was a hodgepodge. But then they started to get back on track, and the only people that was getting back on track was Xbox. Xbox was there for their fan base. I honestly believe, and I'm going to hold this every day, the person who benefits the most from E3 being gone is Jeff. If you look at it, it's Jeff. Any detective in the world worth his salt will tell you that if it fits, you must not acquit. I'm just saying. All right? I'm just saying. Take this for how you want it, but the benefits the most. So we've gone to Summer Game Fest, and let me tell you that it was a conflict. It was absolute conflict of interest, because Summer Game Fest is 4 days. Is that is the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. The 8th is Xbox Day to do their showcase, right? So now Xbox is having Fan Fest. Fan Fest is running on that 8th. You come in, because it used to be the whole weekend, right? But then they zeroed it down to 1 day. You come in, you sit down, you watch the show, whatever stuff that they give you, you had a good time. And they probably might have single little events there, right? Now, this is where the conflict comes in. Jeff's show starts on the 6th. We're there as journalists on the 6th. I'm going to tell you right now, guys, if you've never been there, unless you're a journalist, you're not going to get in. I love it. I love that I ain't got to worry about Tom, Dick, and Harry standing on the side, bringing Mary with them that don't want to be there, and hogging up the lines, and I don't get a chance to talk to developers, see the game, and do my job. I'm a task-driven individual. I got a task that I got to do. I got fans that want to know about specific games. And if I can't get to that specific game because that line is around the block because people just want to have a curiosity about it, but don't have any intention for it, that pisses me off. I stopped liking E3 because when they started selling tickets. Now, Jeff he cornered off like a little city. And when you get in there, you know, you have your schedules and stuff like that. He has these food trucks. You're well taken care of as a journalist. You're never going to feel better about being a person on the inside than that. I can't lie. The guy knows how to throw a party, and he does it. He does it in fine fashion. He doesn't skimp anywhere. So you go in, the place is decked out really good. You start seeing, Jeff Grubb. You start seeing, I got a ton of pictures with everybody going in there doing all the work that we're supposed to do. And you really get that time with the developer to go in depth. The Stalker 2 developer, we had a ton of time with them. It was tons of developers that we got that with. But while we're there, Xbox hierarchy is there. Phil, Matt, Sarah, Jason Ronald, they're there. So I'm talking to them, but we're in an environment that we can talk with no problem. Aren't they supposed to be at FanFest? Aren't they supposed to be going to take care of their business? See, Jeff owns LA now. Jeff is really the games bringer. So you having FanFest there, and this is where it messed up at. We missed the day of Games Fest, because we had to go to Xbox thing the next day. We missed out on Sega. We missed out on Capcom. We missed out on a couple of other big guys that were there at Jeff's thing, just to go to see the show at Xbox. We go see the show at Xbox. Guess who's there? Jeff. Kind of annoyed and kind of pissed off, but he was there. You'll see a couple of pictures on my video later on. But we talked about that, and I understand that they're going to give him his space. I think Xbox backed off. We're going to give him that time. We're still going to do our show. That COVID showed companies that they're able to do digital events without spending the bread to cover digital events. We're still going to reach the masses. We're going to still do that, but we still have something for our fans. We're just going to move the location. Sometimes locations have to move for things to improve. You know, going to a different location, going to a different city, hitting a different group fan base. I think LA is kind of tapped out, kind of been there, done that. And when you go to Germany and you see the tons of people that are celebrating Xbox now, because remember, that's PlayStation's home. That's Nintendo's spot. Xbox need to have a larger presence in a place. They can't keep singing to the same group. You got to start singing to different people in order to show a different face. That's the reason why I was told that Gamescom, they announced Indiana Jones over there to get those people excited about Xbox. And they got a large roar of the crowd from those people. So pushing your brand in a foreign land puts money in your hand, my man. You change the thought process. And it's all about doing something different. And if we've noticed anything about Xbox so far, this generation, as far as after the ABK deal, they are more willing to do something completely different to reach a different fan base in order to grow in a different direction, because doing the same thing is a definition of insanity. Talking to the same group and same people, I know people have a different thought process when it comes to FanFest. It's a time for meeting the same friends and laughing. I can do that on any social time. I go to these things and we spend this money to work. So, you know, I'm not on vacation. I'm actually working. So when we go to see these things and meeting up with people, that's great. But the whole thing is about pushing your brand, getting more information, taking it to the next level, and evolving as a content creator, as a journalist. And if I've been to LA 8 times and never went to the Walk of Fame, never went to a beach, only pushing merch, only doing this, changing a locale, I'm going to do the same thing in a different locale, pushing the brand, pushing the merch, finding out more information, meeting new people or new developers that don't go to LA. So I'm hugely excited to go to a different locale to try something different. But I know this, a ton of the journalists that go to LA is going to be in Germany, because Kay Asante and I had the most FOMO, brother, when you were there. And when you was talking about it and you was talking about the spectacle that it wasn't in LA, only you can attest to that. And I want to soak some of that up. I want to have something to talk about other than the same old.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair thought and a theory, but again, we'll see what happens. Whether this is a one-time thing or it's something that they do for the 10th anniversary and they go away from it. I hope that they don't. Again, I understand that the location can change. PAX Prime would be a good spot for it. That's the one that's in Texas. That's the big PAX one. I know there's PAX East. There's PAX Prime, which is the one in Seattle. There's PAX West, the one that's in Texas.
No, PAX West is in Seattle.
No, PAX West is Prime. PAX West used PAX Prime. Well, no, hold on. West used to be called Prime. Sorry.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think the one in Seattle is the
in
big
Seattle.
one.
Yeah.
That's where it
that's
originated
the OG. Yeah.
Yeah. So listen, Hargeet, let's bring you in, brother. Okay, so we got confirmation that not only are we getting a showcase on the 8th, it's a digital event. We do know that there's going to be a developer direct following it. It's going to be just like it was before. And Outer Worlds 2, we got again, if you missed that out, and you know how I feel about IGN, but you got to give them credit where credit is due. They had an IGN first today, and I got to tell you, my God, Outer Worlds 2 looks freaking amazing. So I'm definitely going to be excited for that. But Hargeet, let's talk the cancellation of course, the Xbox event and your thoughts and theories and excitement for what they could show in June.
Yeah, look, I've been saying that basically this is going to be the pattern going forward, right? They have too many studios to not have a stellar show every year. It's going to be the most exciting show. I was hoping to get a lot of that from Nintendo's reveal, and it was pretty good. It was a pretty good reveal, but I'm looking forward to that like mainline Mario or Zelda, which they didn't really have. Which will come. I know it'll come, right? So I don't know if it's gonna be in the same time frame. Maybe it'll be at Summer Game Fest for all I know. Or maybe they'll do something at Gamescom. I don't know, right? So we'll see what they do next. But like these two are going to be pumping out games, right? People don't realize just how many first-party games were actually announced, and then not even a Mario or Zelda were announced at that Switch 2 reveal, and they still have more to come, right? So that is both Xbox and Nintendo will just have so many games to talk about. As usual, right? And silently, Nintendo has been releasing 8 to 10 games every year.
Yep,
Switch exclusive every year, and they, and this is going to be the pattern for Xbox. Just look at the numbers, the sheer numbers of games that they're putting out. They will try not to have exclusivity, but they have some. Avowed is still exclusive. South of Midnight still exclusive, right? Those came out this year. There'll probably be others, and they'll have some that are just big marquee titles that will just go everywhere. Doom the Dark Ages is going to go everywhere. That's great. It's good for that franchise. It's always been everywhere. Why not, right? So, and we'll see what that strategy goes through going forward, right? We'll see how that plays out. But you will have a bunch of games coming first party, and of course, for everybody on Xbox, the big thing you get day and date Game Pass. All of those games are day and date Game Pass.
Yep,
you don't have to worry about it. It's just there. If you subscribe, you're done. You get everything. You have it. You play it. You want to play it. You don't want to play it. Up to you. Right, it's just a different model for us. So, in the case of the Fan Fest itself being taken away, to what King was pointing out, it isn't exactly. It's been dwindling as it is, but it is exactly like the full fans list. It's it's the people who kind of get in. It's several hundred of them. And then you have many people who don't get it, and they keep dwindling, right? And it's like, okay, maybe they just got to the point where it's like, is this even worth it? The media need to be there. That's just the way it is, right? They're going to be covering things, and they're going to have. It's not just to watch the thing; it's also to get the gameplays and whatnot afterwards, right? There's going to be surrounding stuff about their games where you can actually see the content and interact with it. They'll have a presentation on what's going on with games that are about to come out in a non-public format, right? You have embargo information, stuff like that. So, it's still gonna, I'm sure, have those kind of things. But it is kind of disappointing that we won't have the fans. I was hoping they would expand it, but it's going the opposite direction, right? And economy being the economy, whatever. I guess people are cutting costs everywhere. It is what it is. You're going to keep seeing more and more of this probably going forward, right? But I hope they have if it's going to be Gamescom, have a big presence there. We'll see what they do. I hope that's the case, right? And then that's a question of who's going to go out there. That's a whole new thing, right? We kind of got blindsided by this. It wasn't exactly something that was announced, last year, so we can look forward to it and say, oh, okay, that's what you're going to do. Okay, fine. Right. Which has been another major gripe I've had with the whole FanFest thing is the FanFest happens in the first week of June and they come out mid-May and start saying, oh, we're going to have a FanFest. Would you like to sign up? It's like, yes. Dude, come on. You need to do this months ahead of time so people can plan their lives, get tickets, hotel rooms. It's always been a gripe of mine. It's like, why does this have to be so last minute? Why can't you just do that well ahead of time? In fact, start it in February or something, and that way people can plan their year, right, and get things, lined up. But they, it's right within a couple of weeks of the actual FanFest. You're like, come on, are you not thinking this through? Why are you doing that? But that's what they do, and maybe they can be a bit more mindful of it going forward. But if it is just at Gamescom, it kind of just flows into a much larger venue. Maybe that works out better. We'll see, right? I'm still disappointed that's going to happen. People like you, Boom, are already canceling. There might be some other thing we could do maybe for those who are planning to come out there. Maybe get,
I know Web Dave is still going. He's going to be going as well. So, he hasn't canceled.
But yeah, maybe there's a smaller venue we could get and see if fans want to go or something like that. I don't know. We'll have to kind of figure that out. But that is something that's possible. But you know, it's an interesting headache. It's not going to be like at the level of what Microsoft does, of course, but is that something that people still want to do? Fair enough. If they do, if they don't, whatever, right? Maybe Gamescom is the answer, and everybody just goes there. So it's somewhat disappointing, but in the end, if if the media thing is still there, I suppose we'll still get that. We'll get the coverage for those who can get in as media. Great. So I don't know if Boom you would even gotten that notice or not, if it's going to happen or not. I don't know, but we'll find out. So yeah, we'll go from there, I guess. At least there's a showcase. And as I said, it's going to be good. There's always
going to be great.
This is probably going to be one of the most exciting showcases going forward pretty much every year, just because of the breadth of studios they have, of a variety of games that they have. There's probably something for everyone. I would expect, right? They go all the way from Sims to first-person shooters to adventure games to whatever, right? Like you get every type of variety of game, and somebody's gonna like something in there, right? So unless you're like me and you just like everything. Like, oh, cool, that looks good. Damn it, that looks good. And the backlog just keeps getting worse. But that's kind of how it is. They're gonna have an exciting big a showcase pretty much every year. They still have third-party partnerships, so you're still gonna see some third-party stuff too, right? But along with that, they just have so many of their own internal studios now. And that buzz is going to start changing things. I think the industry is going to have a different view of gaming as we move forward. If the hardware does what it's supposed to with the Steam integrations and all that, it just changes the whole game, and we'll see where that goes. But I don't know if they're going to do any hardware reveals here. It doesn't quite make as much sense. But maybe at Gamescom it happens, or maybe it's a separate event. If it's an Asus ROG type thing, maybe it's just a separate event.
They still
maybe.
It'd be like a separate thing, right? So
or the MCI announcement.
But anyway, so this is like kind of the thing that's happened. It's an unfortunate thing, I guess, but we'll see how we play it out and see what happens next. If they really do decide it's Gamescom, okay. Maybe they decided something later in the year, right? And and to your point, King, maybe they did want to get out of Keeley's way. That's a possibility. I would
because I was kind of pissed. I was kind of pissed off with it, to be honest with you.
To not be able to go to the other things,
to not to be able to have the full 4 days with the Keeley stuff, and to break it in between, because I can't be at 2 places at one time, and I'm damn sure not picking nobody over Xbox, right? So by default, I'm definitely gonna be there, and you'll see when you go to the games fest joint. I don't hype up a dude like that. I don't like that guy. I don't. You know why? Because he takes glee in my misery as an Xbox fan. To be honest with you, I think so. Right? This is my thoughts of it. Right?
Yeah, I don't know about that,
one more thing, and he shows that you hurt me bad, bro. You keep doing it. But I'm just saying, man. Like I gotta give props. He understands what E3 was, and he did it.
Wasn't doing right, that kind of thing.
Look,
what I'd caution is that a lot of people like us went to Summer Game Fest because there was the Xbox showcase. And if the Xbox showcase isn't there as a draw, it sort of kills the other side, right? So we'll see.
We're going to get into Keasante's thoughts and theories in that, because he's actually, we've been talking all day. I think you're onto something, Hargeet, because again, the draw was the Xbox Fan Fest, and I think, and again, this is not me being cynical. This is just looking at reading the room. If there's, and again, if there's another IGN Live, and last year's was pretty cool. Like, it had a lot of the old school E3 feels. And I went to them, so I remember. So it had that old school E3 feel. Keasante, you and I ran into a couple of the promoters, and we were talking in Starbucks. I'm like, oh, but listen, they asked what you guys think of the show. I'm like, oh my god, dude, it was really well done. Oh, thanks, and it was really well produced. It was a lot of fun.
Yep. We ran into Seth Macy, if I'm not mistaken, one of the IGN guys, and he was he was very, very nice guy, and he was very appreciative
personable.
of the fact that we enjoyed ourselves and had a good time. Yeah, it was a good show. But to your point, Boom, like much like how people call Game Pass, these are the gems you don't know you need. Right? I would have not flown out to go to IGN Live. Then I went there because of the Xbox showcase, and I ended up going to IGN Live. Had a great time there. Ended up going to Summer Game Fest. Actually, had a great time there as well. Not so much because Summer Game Fest for me was that excellent, but this was the first time you got to hang out with the brothers. You got to meet King David. You got to meet all. It was a transcendent experience, man. It was amazing. Got to hang out with the boys. Got to connect. Got to build. It was fantastic. But to be clear, I think I even ended up going to what do you call it? A Giant Bomb Live. Did a thing on a Sunday night before I went.
Yeah.
But none of that would have been something I would have paid, like flight and hotel room, if it didn't have that base of the Xbox showcase, right? And as such, because it no longer has that base, I for one, and I've been taking some recommendations from good sources in this community, asking me to maybe instead of, because I was also planning on going to June in LA in June, and I had my ticket booked and everything else. And now I have the option to switch that, and I may very well do so in favor of, say, PAX West, because then I there is an opportunity there, right? So and on to that question, to that statement about when they plan on doing another fan fest, I too have heard that a fan fest will definitely be done, like in some shape or form. Obviously, as King David has mentioned, 10-year anniversary. You don't do it 9 years and then cancel it. They want to make a bigger deal on the 10 years, right? But here's my question: are we? And I asked this question genuinely because I'm not exactly sure. Are we sure 100% that they said Gamescom? Because I've been to Gamescom. Gamescom is monumental. But boy, oh boy, I'm talking about a sea of humans, man.
Yes.
And then of course there's different sections where business gets done. And we were back there, we were talking. That's where you can go behind closed doors and talk to people, get things done. Fine. But still, the amount of humans on the floor, wow, oh my God. But Xbox comes in a real big way to Gamescom. Like, they put the money on the screen, so to speak, at Gamescom. So you will be very, very surprised at how they show up at Gamescom. But the reason why I asked if the information is definitive, whether it's Gamescom or not, because Gamescom and PAX West are in close proximity. If I was thinking, and this is just a total theory craft on my part, if I was thinking they want to do something to commemorate the 10-year anniversary, and they have a lot in the tank and coming out, I would say close to home, and that's PAX West, and that's early in September instead of late in September. It's still the same time frame.
Yeah, I didn't get any concrete confirmation on that. I would never go back to PAX West again. I went there. I hated that place. I can't stand.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. PAX West was. No, I've been to two of the PAX. Well, we go to PAX East all the time.
PAX East is probably the best show I've ever been to. It is PAX, the most fan-friendly group of people. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and for the record, we're also planning on going to PAX East as well too. So we gonna be everywhere this year. It's good to go. But
you have a good time.
I guess my question is, why would, and don't get me wrong, I've actually, being gone, I advocate, and for the record, I advocate that Microsoft and all of these shows get into the cadence of spreading it around. Gamers are worldwide, right? Even in the States, gamers are like, we're from nationwide. We're, there are no flyover states when it comes to gaming, right? Right. And as King keeps talking about, LA is expensive, man, and so is Germany. They're all expensive, and so is New York.
They do fan fest all over, right?
They do exactly. They do fan fest in Germany as well.
In Germany, like that time
during Gamescom, every year they did a Gamescom
fan fest. Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
These things aren't unheard of. They do it in different locations. Show, right? Yep. They do it. They do it in Mexico. The video I got later, you're gonna see.
They did one in Brazil a couple of years ago. The Brazil one was pretty big. Yeah,
they do them all over, and I just think it's I don't know, entitlement to just believe that it's gonna always be in LA. And I, you know what I hated? I hated that I had an avenue in to get into FanFest every year is like kind of a cheat sheet. And then when they did this raffle thing,
Mhm.
it hurt my friends.
Yeah.
Right. So we had an open chat last year. A lot of people down to the wire couldn't get into the ancillary things.
Are you
but we
kidding
got
me?
them
Sean
into the
LaBrie
show.
got in at that morning. Like they were like, oh
Right.
yeah, we could bring Sean in. Like, oh my,
You
he
see?
went there, not even in the door. Yeah.
But he lives there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it wasn't like he had to fly anywhere.
Mm,
My thing
true.
is, they told you in enough time. That's it. Right? It's going to be a digital joint. We're working on some other stuff. We're still going to have a show. Now, I know that the big up, the higher ups is going to be at Gamescom. I mean, at Summer Games Fest. I know that. You're going to see Phil. You're going to see all those people walking around. You're going to have the conversation with Xbox because Xbox is going to be at Summer Games Fest, right? I'm looking at it not as a fan because I've been like a lot of the stuff is a tax write-off. Like people don't understand like from the perspective that you have to look at it as a business owner. I know you guys are watching. We are gamers. We love this part, but the part of life is doing something that you love and you're getting paid for it. That's life. That's what living is absolutely about. Going to work and being miserable, that's not life. I know a lot of
that's
us.
a reality.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
But understand the absolute goal is to do something that you love and get paid for it and do it as best as possible, right? So, and hopefully the people that you see that are journalists that are going to these places love what they're doing because they're going to give you the best of what they can give you with their coverage. That's how I view it, right? And then getting to hang out with my friends is a super bonus. That's a super bonus. So I like new adventures. The first time I flew out to LA, again, I flew out there blind, not knowing. Hopefully they can get to the part of us knowing, something concrete that, all right, so we know it's going to be this. We know, remember last year it was only 200 people.
Yeah, it was small.
It moved down from 1,000 people before to 200. That's terrible.
Yeah.
So you had 800 people that couldn't make it, that had to bear that heartbreak. If it's going to go to a larger venue with a larger crowd, with a bigger incentive, and we're just shifting finance to a different location, I'm down for it. I'm willing to see what they can do, and I'm just glad they gave us the heads up. Anybody that was able to get their flight back, if that's not for them, if they don't like, some Summer Games Fest or something, I'm happy they gave us the ability to do that, and it was transparent. But for the people that's going, we always gonna meet up and go eat. We always gonna do that. We always gonna have that time. But then there's the IGN joint, and then there's Summer Games Fest, and then there's more stuff that's going around ancillary in the area. But we can have one big giant view party and broadcast this ourselves, have our own fan fest together. Those things can happen.
Yeah, no, and we've been talking behind the scene for quite a while to make that happen. But look, at the end of the day, June is going to be bonkers because Xbox is having their own event. Supposedly, they're going to have something. They're actually going to, when I heard a couple of things at Jeff's show. So they're planning for that. So not only are you going to get some surprises at Jeff's show, you are getting the digital event for what is expected to be an even bigger Xbox showcase than 2024. And again, saying that, it doesn't register because all four of us were in the auditorium, and for one game or another, every time a game was announced, it was like a rock concert, honestly. People just jumping out of their seats. It was so much fun. But you know what? When they decide to figure out what they're going to do moving forward, of course, here at Double Barrel Gaming, we're going to try and get some of these events. Next year's PAX East, I'm definitely going to. That is definitely on the bucket list because I haven't been to one in years, and it is one of the best fan shows. Like, they really treat the fans awesome. I love the PAX, and I've never been to the one in Seattle, PAX Prime or PAX West, whatever it's called. I've never been to. That's the Mecca one. That's where it originally started with Gabe and one of the other founding fathers for PAX. But listen, gentlemen, we have to get into this Nintendo thing, and I gotta go right back to King David, which, by the way, did an incredible video. Look, I've said this before, folks, and I want it to be clear. I make no excuses for being a Nintendo nerd. I'm a fan, diehard through and through. But I got to tell you, every day that passes or has passed since the unveiling of this Switch 2, it has been one flubber after another. I mean, I just think the amount of rakes Nintendo has stepped on. And you ask, is it going to affect sales? Are people still going to line up to get a Switch 2? Well, I want to line up to get a Switch 2 at $500 with Mario Kart World for me and my nephew because we play together on a regular basis. It's a family thing. It's not just I want to be a Nintendo nerd and just drive around by myself. I want to play with him. And, of course, when there's an Animal Crossing sequel, I'll buy that console for Mrs. Boom, and we will do what we do every day. We'll play Animal Crossing and have fun. It's a family thing for us. But that, unfortunately, King David, has been marred by tariffs, which, again, we don't like politics here, but is a reality to what's happening. And, of course, $80 games nobody wanted. Nintendo was the first one to show up to the door to not only ask for 80, but for 90. And they made mention, and thanks for Kay Asante putting in this old man's brain, they used a bunch of words that is very concerning, and variable pricing should scare any gamer. Variable pricing says that on a Tuesday, Bowser could wake up and say, you know what? This next Zelda game, we love it so much, it's going to cost you guys and gals $100, $99.99. Good luck, Charlie Brown. And like for me, like I'm clear as glass. Like you folks know that I have 107 physical Switch games, and I have 60. I counted them, 60 digital games. I buy a lot of Nintendo games. What unfortunately this is going to do for me is I'm only buying the mainstays. Like I'll never buy a Mario Golf or a Mario Tennis because I like those games. I play with Tyler, right? I play with my nephew and we have fun, but I don't play it enough to justify an $80 Mario Tennis. So again, King, you did a video where you went in on Nintendo. I'm hoping you could bring that same flavor to tonight's show. Please take it away with Nintendo.
Okay, so the fact that 12 years ago, Xbox told you that they were going to be always on and they was going to have some form of DRM, and you guys hated it. Oh, we can't stand them. Nintendo comes out, does the same exact thing, and they do it worse, far more egregious. They don't even put their Kinect in a box for $500. They just gave you a game that they was able to sell you for $49.99 any goddamn way, but you said, I love it. Why? They gave you 5-year-old hardware. That hardware is old. And y'all said, I love it. Y'all eating it up by buckets. You know what's the most egregious thing? Every day we find out new information. New information. You know what I found out today? I found that that GameCube controller only works with the GameCube app.
Yeah.
Doesn't work with any of the games at all except for the GameCube app.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
They gave you DRM for your controller. Yo, who are these dudes? Like,
they put a controller behind a paywall.
Yo, it's a bug. You pay for the controller, but can't control shit. I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, it's all right. It's okay. No, we're grown men. Please, by all means. This is one of those. You gotta let the steam out, sir. Please let it out.
So if you don't have their online, okay, listen. Have you ever heard putting blinders on a horse? You're the horse. And these are the blinders. And they're staring you where they want you to go. It's a reason why digital games are cheaper, because they want you to go to digital. It's a reason why they have a family share program, because they want you to make sure that you get onto the online. It's a reason why their online stuff is everything is tied to the online. That chat stuff, you better be online. That camera stuff, better be online. Everything needs to be online for it to work. When Xbox said it, Xbox bad. Nintendo said, Nintendo good. And I don't want to hear, well, the times are different. Yeah. You've been greased up, lubed up, and beat up all these years that now you just accept any damn thing. And you said, thank you, sir, may I have another? And you're just sitting there, and every day it gets worse and worse. And you just sitting there smiling like, I can't wait till the 5th. Look at you. You got your money out, ready to rock. And I can't believe you idiots. And let me tell you something. Again, me getting a Switch 2, it's a write-off. I'm going to do an unboxing on my channel. I'm going to show you. I have Frontline Gaming streams where I stream games daily. Yes, I'm streaming my Switch. My Switch is right here, right now. I stream it. Yeah. You know what I don't do that Boom does? Boom has 100 and some odd physical games. I have 10. Okay.
You know what? They have a high resale value. So if I ever became Poe, I can go and sell them and I'd be all right. Right.
Listen, they absolutely do, because the Nintendo will never cut down the price. I got a Wii U in there that's still factory price right now. All right. So I know who they are. They're the guys that got their ass kicked with the Wii U, humbled themselves, got down on their knees, was very quiet, said, we don't want to compete, while they quietly built 140 million install base. When they reached that magic number, they went bonk bananas. The level of hubris on this company, the fact that Doug Bowser can come out and say,
talk about it.
We know that the Switch 2 is a little bit pricey and the online stuff that we have going on, but the ecosystem that we've made, we also have a Switch for you.
He pulled a Donnie D, bro. He pulled a Donnie D.
Metric said the same thing and you vilified him. And remember, who was doing that interview? That was Jeff. All right? Don't ever forget the guy that stabbed you first. Okay? All right? Don't ever forget it. All right? So when he said that thing up there, one more thing, he was just twisting the knife because he already put it in before. He helped you die that generation. Now, is this going to equate to Nintendo dying? Unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, no. You know why? Because at the end of the day, Nintendo has built up a level of clout with you idiots that is going to resonate no matter what. Why? Because we are gamers. And when I say you idiots, I'm included. I'm included. Now, you got people out there saying, well, the Xbox people are going to gravitate to Nintendo. Listen, first of all, this is not a cult. We're gamers, all right? And as a gamer, I have absolutely everything. And I'm never going to tell you, I'm never going to be disingenuous to you. I'm never going to tell the fan base, don't buy anything. I'm going to tell you to try everything. And I'm also going to tell you to buy it at the low. But I'm glad Nintendo did this, because what it did was highlight how Xbox is the most customer friendly, the most friendly gaming consumer product that's on the market today. Now, one of them is putting their first party games in Game Pass and whatever their service is. Their service is secondary to their product. Xbox product is secondary to their service. The platform is Game Pass. The experience is wrapped around the gamer. The gamer is central. If you heard Phil the other day, he expressly said, Xbox is not centered around one device. It's centered around the experience of the gamer, where you are center, where you have value. So if you see Nintendo not valuing you, hey, that's on you. If you see PlayStation not valuing you, hey, that's on you. But I want you to take a cold, hard look at who's looking at you saying, for your money, we're going to give you the most. I want to know who's going to give you Doom the Dark Ages, South of Midnight, Indiana Jones, Forza, Halo, everything for $20 a month.
No.
I want to know who's going to do that for you. And that show that you see in June, I want to know how many games that you love. And if you're on a competing platform, waiting and begging and hoping with the hope face, please, oh God, please send the game to me. Shut up and get an Xbox. Or just get Game Pass and sit down. Because at the end of the day, Xbox is everywhere. With that LG news, you got a television, it's there. Whatever television you got, they in it. If you got Amazon, you all do, because you all like stuff shipping to you. You got it. Wake up. We are gamers. We are at a precipice now where your money starts to matter, because these guys are going to milk you dry. Pause. And be careful. If you continue to give them your bread so wholeheartedly, that variable rate is so egregious that they told you at any given time. See, think about it this way. Would you sign a variable mortgage rate? Hell no.
Hell no. Are you freaking kidding me?
1 month your mortgage is this, next month your mortgage is that. When that bubble pop, you pop. Hell no. Right? So if you won't do that there, why do that here? And I got to say this. The real price on that 5-year-old crappy hardware is $330. The reason why I can tell you that, because they gave their whole Japan a hometown discount.
Yeah, it's it's like $130 something cheaper. It's up there, dude. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They did that with the PlayStation 3.
Yep.
PlayStation did that. They launched with hard concrete prices in Europe and the United States. In Japan, they gave you a hard price on the lower 20 gig SKU, but on the 60 gig SKU, they left it up to the retail shop to come up whatever their price was going to be.
That was in your last video. It was a good one.
Yes.
Man.
And I'm telling you, people, if you don't start having pride in your dollar and you don't start treating the American company, because at the end of the day, we bleed green. Don't let these guys trick you out of your money. Don't let these companies get away with it. Raise a stink. You raise a stink with Xbox, you'll reverse that DRM, right? Make Nintendo reverse it. Sony reversed it. They saw the backlash. This is the reason why Sony put out that whole email to everybody. I got it. How do I feel about Nintendo? Oh, I gave them an earful. But Sony's going to still do what they're going to do. You got a $750 Pro right now. I'm just saying.
No, King, everyone's loving what you're talking about. You're spitting facts. And, before I bring Hargeet in, I got to bring a $5 super chat from Alvin. Alvin says this, and this leads right into what we're talking about. He says, after dropping a very generous $5 super chat, Alvin says people wondered what the new innovation Nintendo would add to the Switch 2. Well, how about a pay-to-play C button, Don Matrix somewhere with a cigar laughing?
I call it the Cash App button.
You did say it was a Cash App button, and I nearly fell out of my seat when I was listening. Hargeet, listen, let's talk Nintendo. Look, you obviously were with us when the news broke. And this is one of those situations where since the unveiling of the Switch 2 and its pricing and the game prices, ultimately it was a great show. I loved it because I'm a Nintendo nerd and they had a lot of games there that I'm very excited for. Of course, having the GameCube app in there got me super excited because there's games I definitely want to play there. But ever since that unveiling, ever since the Nintendo Direct, the news continues to not only spiral out of control, but it seems to get worse. And again, if you didn't know what King was talking about, Doug Bowser, who is the president of the Nintendo of America, basically said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that he understands that there are going to be customers that can't afford to move to the Switch 2 for one reason or the other. And he basically said that is why we are still continuing the Switch 1. Now, it wasn't certainly as bad as Donnie D, but it is that same energy. And even though that 17-minute interview that he had more stuff in it, that is what a lot of people walked away with. And again, when Xbox did it, it nearly Xbox imploded, right? Like they nearly I mean, you look back to 2013 and it's still revered as one of the worst Xbox experiences ever. And now we have Nintendo, who doesn't give anything to their fans, who is basically going to charge anything and everything. And now we have in that interview the words being used of variable pricing, which again, shout out to that Blue Number, who's a part of Brisket's show on Fridays, did a really great tweet where she talked about how dangerous and how much of a slippery slope, variable pricing can be. Let's get your thoughts, man, because it just seems to be getting worse.
Oh no! I don't mind. Look, it's been nice that we've had this like sort of a lock-in price thing for probably about a couple of decades now, right?
Yes.
Before that, it was variable, and there was no set standard of anything. Nintendo started creating some standards, but really, it was still variable. So look, I don't expect every game to come out at $80 or $70 or anything like that. I think a lot of the Nintendo games are still going to be cheaper. But some of the mainline games will probably be $70. And then you have these oddities. I still think if they have like a mainline Zelda or a mainline Mario, they're probably going to charge more. And how much that is, I don't know. We'll see. They seem to think it's worth it from their perspective. But here's the problem: it'll work. It'll work. It's unfortunate, but it'll work. How many of us are going to skip those games? Well, maybe one or two of us will. Many of us won't. We'll just buy it anyway, and that's just unfortunately the way it goes. You could say the same thing for GTA. It's going to come out. You can all complain about it and say, "Oh, I won't spend this much." You'll spend it. You'll spend it. It's what it is. I'll look at the chart every freaking month. It'll say, "Oh, GTA sold." Okay, yeah, whatever. And what are we up to now? 40 million, 60 million. It doesn't matter. It's gonna work. The sad part is it's gonna work. With Xbox, people could create this little kerfuffle and say, "Oh, well, we don't like Xbox," when the industry never liked them anyway. So whatever. It's not a huge thing, but with Nintendo, yeah, good luck. We'll see what happens. From a hardware perspective, I'll note that like the Xbox is also much cheaper in Japan. The PlayStation 5 is also cheaper in Japan. That is somehow a thing. I don't know why it needs to be a thing, but it is a thing. In Japan, for some reason, they have region-locked versions of their hardware. And what was that?
Nationalism.
But then why Xbox, right? And it's just they're all cheaper. And like if you look at Game Pass price in Japan, oh my god, it is such a steal. But it is what it is. That's the way it is over there. But the hardware is cheaper all across the board. It's cheaper over there. So whatever, that's whatever that is. As far as like the current stock of games, we have the one that's at $80. The rest of them, you have like Zelda, which Tears of the Kingdom came out at $70. They want to charge you a $10 uplift to get it to Switch 2 version, which is crap, but it is what it is. So, but those statements, oh my goodness.
Not good, man.
How the heck are you going to did he forget what happened in 2013 when Xbox did this? Did he forget that happened? I mean, like there's a level of hubris here, right? That you got to say, okay, they just think they're untouchable. The problem with that, I wouldn't really say you're untouchable. Unfortunately, now you're going to have to compete with other handhelds that are kind of making the market interesting, right? So, no, the Steam Deck isn't getting to the sales level of a Switch. Fair enough.
Right.
But you know what? The next couple of these devices that are going to start to become pretty good, they're going to compete well with this, and they'll have the entire PC library. And if Xbox does pull off this UI thing where it kind of works more like a console, you're going to have a pretty good competitor that says, yeah, okay, yes, Switch, you have your, you have your Nintendo exclusives, which unofficially you can play on PC.
Or NVIDIA Shield.
Or right. So or you can just get a device that plays everything, right? And you're going to have all your Xbox games, your PlayStation games, your EA games, your Ubisoft games, yeah, everything, all your Capcoms, everything is going to be there, and you get to play at the rate you want to. In other words, it doesn't have to be locked to, oh, we decided 30 frames. No, it's whatever you want. You can bump the fidelity down, play it at 60, play it 120. It's up to you. You choose, right? However much you want is up to you, right? And you give that choice to gamers and say, all right, which one do you want? Now, I still think Nintendo isn't going to go away. It's going to sell well enough. It's not going to do as dominantly as it did before, because that was a cheap device that you could just buy and say, it's an impulse enough buy that I don't care, right? When it gets to about $400-500, it's not as much of an impulse anymore, is it? Now you have to think about it. And, maybe that cost comes down over time. Maybe it doesn't. And you have to kind of think about where that's going to go. And you then look at the equivalents on the other side. Maybe you can get something cheaper, but let's say it's around the same neighborhood, $500, $600, but you can play everything. Oh, and by the way, you can get Game Pass. You can get EA Play Pro. You can get Ubisoft Plus, and you suddenly have access to the libraries of games at a much cheaper cost. These things start to add up, and I don't know how much the discerning gamer is going to be at the Nintendo altar. A lot of that is us, because we grew up with it. We have nostalgia and keep playing those games.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of newcomers into the gaming world, in other words, children, they tend to play Roblox and Minecraft, and they actually prefer PC and mobile than they do anything else. We've been saying it over and over again. Yep. That's just what the market trend shows, right? So if they're going to play that, Fortnite, well, you can play that anywhere. And they don't really care that it's a Nintendo device. But look, there's some great games that come with that, and maybe that'll pull enough people in. Is it going to be enough to actually override it? I want to put some stats out there. Let's say we look at the Nintendo Switch with its 150-ish million. How many do you think are those 150 million? Are those the same customer bought 2 or 3 of them?
Oh, there's quite a few of them. I mean, I bought, I think,
I'm one of them.
6.
Just for me. There's the problem, right?
So and Mrs. Boom.
You can't even say it's 100 million customers, right? Because realistically, there's probably like 60, 70 million people who bought multiples of these things, right? There might be some that bought one, but it's probably in that range. It's a lot of people who bought multiples of them. And then you do the same thing with the other consoles. PC, on the other hand, that generally tends to be a 1-to-1. It doesn't always end up being 1-to-1, but in a lot of cases, it's 1-to-1. Here's your laptop, go play. Here's my desktop, I play. It generally tends to follow that. There's 1 billion players. That number is substantially higher. And that's the world that Xbox is looking to say, we own this. Why don't we take it and make it into something that's more user-friendly? Still give you the same power if you want it. Go ahead back to desktop if you want it. But here you go. We can give you a nice UI. Looks like your Switch. Looks like your PlayStation. Looks like your Xbox. Nice, simple interface. If you want to have that kind of experience, we got you covered. You want it in a portable? We got you covered. That world is going to be an interesting challenge to Nintendo. And as I said, yes, not officially, you can play those Switch games on a PC. So now you have an all-in-one device that plays everything.
Yeah.
And, if you're savvy enough to be on PC, you definitely know how to do the emulation. So it's not going to be as big a deal. This is kind of the thing. This is an interesting world to me. We will see how much this hampers their potential market. I don't usually like arrogance like this from a company, because it usually follows with a fail. Right? Now, will this happen for Nintendo? Maybe not. Right? But
it happened to them once
failed
before with the 3DS. If you remember the 3DS when they came out with that,
it happened before, and I wouldn't suggest that it couldn't happen again. And they have lost console generations. That has happened before. So, and there are competitors that can make it more interesting. So we shall see if this works. It's one thing to offer options like, oh, we understand, unfortunately, given the dynamics of what we're trying to do, it had to be this expensive because of the processor cost and all. That's a much better answer, right? At least it's more conciliatory versus, well, we got to switch one for those who don't have the money.
Switch one for you. Yeah.
That is a terrible way to make that statement. A terrible way to make that statement. You want to be conciliatory to your customer and say, we understand, we hope to drive the cost down. At this point, unfortunately, with the way things are, that is a much better way to say that. It's the same message. It's the same message. Screw off, you're going to pay this much. But
it's more
it just
politically
says
correct.
it in a way where it's like, we understand your concern. We're trying our best. We'll see what we can do to make it better. It gives the customer hope that you care. Of course, they don't give a shit. They just want your money. But
I like that he said tariffs had nothing to do with what we was going to do
he
to
let
you.
the cat out of the bag. And that was dumb.
Had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, we plan to do this to you regardless.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why people assumed it was tariffs, because if it was tariffs, then why is it expensive in Europe?
Yep.
Why is it expensive in Canada? Why
Yep.
It's expensive everywhere, because that was the price to begin with. Nothing to do with tariffs. Anyway, so now we'll see what the outcome of this is, right? There seems to be a bubbling of anger, right? You saw like at their Treehouse event, lower the price, lower the price, lower the price.
They had to shut up the comments.
Yeah. It was crazy, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, so obviously there's some pushback, right? And this isn't from Xbox fans or even PlayStation fans. This is from Nintendo fans that are saying this, right? So, okay, this is an interesting place for them to be, right? They're starting to play again in that power narrative. You might not think so, but they are, and that's where they are, and that costs money. So now they're kind of getting pushback. It's like, okay, because if you're going to start playing the power narrative, then it's like, well, why aren't you better than your competitors? Why aren't you equal to your competitors? They are in some respects. I don't want to take that away. We haven't seen everything, but it looks pretty good. But it ain't beating the Series X and beating the PS5 Pro. Those are the top tiers that are available as your competitors. What are you going to do to compete with that? If you say, oh, I don't care to compete with that, well, then don't charge the same amounts. This is unfortunately what the customer will think, right? And that's kind of where it's at, right? The Series S, sure, it might beat it slightly, but the Series S is also $300. It's not $450, right? So there is a substantial difference now. And so this is kind of the world they're in. And this is a very interesting place. I can't believe he made those comments. You would think you would learn from history. That's a bad idea. It's happened before. PlayStation did it too, right? Get another job. Pay the $700, $600, whatever it was for that console for the PS3. They made the same stupid ass statement, and it cost them the generation. Like, you can't make that kind of statement. You're looking to make your customer engage. That is just not the right way to do it. At least in my opinion, that's a stupid idea. But
well, listen,
that is just the way it goes.
It's going to be very interesting to see exactly what happens, because there's no way they're going to sell as many consoles, and they're certainly not going to sell as many games when the games are $80. But Asante, you have some thoughts
we'll see about
regarding the Donnie D-esque statement from Doug Bowser. You also have your thoughts and theories of playing Switch games on PC handhelds, possibly. So before we get into it, let me just two things. We have Hollywood Rules drops in a generous $5 super chat and says, General King, Hargeet K, my fellow retired brother in blue, boom, Xbox Thunderbolts have formed. Xbox is on a roll now. Great show. Thank you so much for the generosity and the kind words, brother. Glad that you're, aren't we glad to be retired? This world is just crazy. And one other thing, Asante,
jealous. Very jealous.
Did you see the footage earlier where I was in a free-for-all, came in third, and got the best play? Who was that? Oh, that's right. That was Mr. BoomStick, who has earned his name. Asante, take it away, bro. Let me get your thoughts.
I think they should allow you to have like a T-shirt that says "I am 50 plus years old and you just got smoked by me." You just want to be able to stuff it in people's faces every time you smoke people. Anyway,
oh man, I wish I could put that on my character. I'm 50 and I just killed you. How do you feel?
And I just smoked you. How do you feel? No,
change the game tag to "I am 50."
That's right. That's right.
I'm 50 plus.
That's right. So okay, so how I feel about this Nintendo stuff? Very interesting. First off, I wanted to address the whole Hargeet the thing that Hargeet said, which was, have they not learned the lesson? Have they not? I think you know far more about those historical reference points than Doug Bowser ever will. Like, he has no recollection. Like, even though logically us gamers and those of us who pay attention to this stuff go, ooh, that was a hard lesson you learned. Just like the same lesson that PlayStation learned when they told you to get a second job for a console. So they're not going to fall on their sword and make the same dumb mistake. Like, I don't think Doug Bowser knows any of those points. I don't think he knows that. I don't think he can't recall. I don't think he's like that, right? Like, he's not about that life, is what I'm saying. And as such, since you do not know your history, you of course are doomed to repeat it. Hey, it is what it is. We shall see if they are doomed to repeat it or not. But so, okay. How do I feel about this thing in general? Full disclosure, I have a pre-order in, because we are all pay pigs. Yeah. Forgive me. I must admit that to you right now. I have a pre-order in. I am a worldly man, so my pre-order is in the UK, and it'll get to me on the 12th. It is what it is. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting my, as they say. I put all the slander out, and now I'm gonna get serious. Okay, so I really, really think that the problem here is that we have allowed this to be what it is for a very long time, and it keeps getting worse and worse and worse, and people keep protecting them, right? And I'm not singling Nintendo out specifically, but obviously Nintendo's the one that brought themselves to the firing squad, so these bullets are for them, right? But we keep, as gamers, as people, rewarding bad behavior, and then it just kind of festers and gets worse and worse, and that's obviously where we are today. Like, honestly, what I think will happen here with Nintendo, if the pricing stands, and we the whole tariffs thing, I think all of this is a damn smokescreen, so that when they bring it back down to 450, people go, ooh, it's just 450, even though, god damn it, it's 450. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what they're doing right now. And of course, they have the magical T word to hide behind, so all that just kind of gets lost in the sauce. It is what it is, right? Ultimately, we all know this. We are gamers. We've been here for a very long time. It's a cyclical thing where you fly too close to the sun, you singe off your eyebrows, and you got to come back down to earth. Xbox did it. We see what happened to them. PlayStation did it. We saw what happened to them. Nintendo did it, right? And now they're and then of course when they did that, right, they were brought back down to earth, right? And every time they are brought back down to earth, you know what happens? Innovation. Because when Xbox was brought back down to earth, Game Pass became a thing, and backwards compatibility became a very, very full passionate initiative to win back the consumer base. Right? When PlayStation 3 singed their eyebrows off, what happened? All of a sudden, their development pipeline got streamlined. They went x86. Now all of a sudden, they're all part of the indies, and PlayStation loves their indies. And that's how they came back to it, right? Same thing happened with the Wii U. What happened? This is a cyclical thing. So I honestly don't see them as, oh my God, and they're being ridiculous. It is just their time. And once they're done, it'll be somebody else's time, and we will laugh at them as well. But to King David's point, though, the reason why we can laugh is because it becomes a bad memory after we all fight the good fight, and they relent. And like that wonderful meme, that black and white meme, we put our revolvers back into our holsters, right? Like, you've seen that meme, that old dude, he just goes, oh yeah, okay. But that's not the time right now. The revolvers are still out. So please continue to keep the revolvers out, because if you don't, this will quietly become a coup. And what I mean by that is you will see that inevitable variable pricing dystopia, because that's where we're going. 100%. That's where we're going, right? 100%. And mark my words, if you see that variable pricing word, like, they don't know it yet. And I don't know why they don't know it yet, because that's ridiculous. But 1 + 1 = 2. I'm a parent. I have 2 little ones. We have, like, in this house alone, and let me be real, right? Y'all know me. I game on everything. Switch is probably the last thing I game on these days, because I have so many devices I can game on, and my kids they play on the Switch. I game with my kids on the Switch. even me, who's not like a primary Switch gamer, who's not even a secondary Switch gamer, I have about 5 Switches in this house. That is not happening with Switch 2.
Yep.
Right. I was on the record for day one because the first batch are usually the most susceptible. I was down day one for at least 2 or 3. Now I got 1, and I'm gonna keep looking at with the side eye because I'll be honest with you, as the great Hargeet Chani has said, there are other choices in the market at the same damn price, and they do everything.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Odin 2 portal, look it up. It is insane the world we find ourselves where Nintendo and all of them get to a place where they are so confident in their capabilities that it's like, yeah, you'll buy us because we are who we are.
Right.
That's what PlayStation did on PC. They flew too close to the sun. They had to get their eyebrows singed a little bit. Now they're coming back down to earth. And that's clearly what Nintendo is doing here. And to King David's point blank, I know people will push back against me. I know people will do all of this. You guys are looking at and buying their version of a PS5 Pro.
Yep.
Okay. That's what you're buying. 100%. Now, why do I say that? Because listen to the statement that Bowser made, right? Now, let me be clear. There's 2 ways of seeing this thing, right? And I hear you, and I hear that the points that everybody's making on the internet, the Donnie D of it all. I feel you. I do. But there's one way, and I agree with the way Hargeet frames the picture, right? But there's also another way of looking at it. They are so susceptible to loss at this point. They were so scared by Wii U, but that in the Switch generation, they were very humble. They were hoping for the best, and it blew up beyond their wildest dreams. And do you know what? King David will tell you right now, as a business owner himself, the number one biggest fear in business, especially publicly traded business, is exponential growth, like ridiculous exponential growth, because last year's ceiling becomes next year's floor, and you have to keep sustaining it. And there's no world where they're going to sustain a Switch at ridiculous. Hell no. So my theory is they're not even trying. The Switch ain't going nowhere. Nowhere. The actual ecosystem, the architectural base is still tied to Switch 1 technology.
Yep.
There's a reason they've been hunting Yuzu like they're the criminals of the earth. It's because they don't want you to play Switch 2 games day one on PC. That's why. Because you can. Nothing's changed from the development pipeline. Nothing's changed. King David's talking about their innovation. They've done a lot of innovation. A lot of innovation on this handheld. But all of the innovation, 95% of the innovation has been in the area of stopping you from dumping your game.
That part.
That's all. Oh, the wonderful cart, digital. Oh, the online check-in, digital. Everything they have done has to stop you from being able to do what you were able to do with Switch 1 day one, which was dump your games and play it in a better location. I mean, the online check-in, all of that. That's what all of that inoculates them from. Stopping you from being able to dump your own games so that you can't play it anywhere else and have to pay the variable pricing they choose. Yeah. So, I say all of this to say, yes, I say all this to say, mark my words, clip it, because I know y'all will. If this stands, this will lead to a very long generation. This will lead to the secondary market, meaning old people buying it for a long time. Look at all the other countries that don't have consoles that they get quickly. The secondary market lasts forever. And guess what? Them high seas, bro, they is treacherous.
Yeah.
It's gonna go down because you're making the market difficult to succeed. You're making it difficult for yourself to succeed. And guess what game is gonna do? Game is gonna game. When you let us do it one way or another way.
Or the other.
Easy way or the hard way. We gonna game.
Right? And the best part about this whole equation is when they did this move in Switch 1, they were the only game in town. Right? And as Hargeet is saying, I agree with him, The Ally is not gonna peel off any market share. The Legion Go is not to peel off any market share. Y'all don't even know when I call it when I say the AYN Odin 2 portal. You don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But all those teeny tiny slices of the pie together take a big piece out of their ass, and they need that dollar.
Yeah.
And the more they act this way, the more these guys will get more and more popular. So bring it on.
And, and to that case, Ante, the PlayStation Portal, we thought that was going to fail miserably. It actually did pretty well, and they're looking to do one that does local gameplay.
Yeah,
right? It's $200.
Xbox is coming up with one, and at some point you just got to say, all right, is this enough at $450? Right,
and you know what?
Say, well,
you know what, Hargy? Actually, I'll even do you one better. It's great you bring that up. You know how when we saw Switch 1 and we were like, what the heck is this? And it's interesting. And it's not knowing that we were staring at a 7 to 10 year device. I will dollars to donuts. This is not a 7 to 10 year device. This is a 4-year device at best, if you are lucky. After that, it will be what it always was. A Switch, what do you call it? First party delivery device. It will like right now they're setting themselves up as, hey, we play Cyberpunk, right? They'll play GTA 6, great. But will they play like The Witcher 4?
No.
Will they play like the 4 years from now? I am not so sure. So. I think they'll play in 4 years from now, Hargeet. I think they'll play. Let me finish real quick. I think they'll play those games like they play The Witcher 3 now, which is like, oh my God, do you see that thing actually works? But who's really going to actually play that thing? Yeah. Like Mortal Kombat 1. It works, but really.
It comes down to actual specs we just don't know.
Yes.
Right? What we have is all paper with no actual data. We don't know
didn't give no
what the CPU runs at.
Yes.
Right? We don't know what the GPU runs at. So,
but we do know the architecture. We know that it's basically a second gen architecture. We know that it's running a third gen process on a second gen architecture. We also know what the games look like that they've shown us. And so far, it's been a good, but it's not like oh my God, this is the next gen. And it could just be that they're not really well versed in the hardware just yet, but still.
Yeah, if you see the comparison of some of the games, right, it's not bad. Yeah. It actually looks really good. It's very close to a PS5. It's not quite there, but it's there. It usually outclasses the Series S, which is a current gen, right? It is a current gen. But here's the thing.
That's also not necessarily been. That's not necessarily been
we haven't seen it
sustained
in actuality, right? We haven't seen it in actuality. Yeah. We will get that when we actually have the device in hand and actually be able to do real tests. But the difference is if it has a CPU better than the Xbox One, right? Because that's pretty. I guess
I'm pretty sure it doesn't. I thought it had a better GPU, but definitely not a better CPU.
So that's the question, right?
Yeah.
If it has
and it is also downclocked.
Right. Yeah. And that's all the stuff we need to realize, right? Understand. The PS4, I think it was 1.6 gigahertz, 8 cores, something like that, right? So if it's 3 gigahertz, if it's 2.5 gigahertz, it very well could potentially.
It could.
We don't know yet, and this is the stuff. Yes. Like, until we get to this is why, like, when people started going crazy about the PS5 Pro, I'm like, dude, let it come out. We'll do the actual evaluation when it comes out, and then we'll know what it can actually do. We can see some pictures and say, "Oh my God!" Well, actually, when we saw the first pictures of the PS5 Pro, we're like, "Here's a magnifying glass. What the hell's different?"
And by the way, another point, Hargeet. Remember, people are now like very much in the world of they've finally come to a closer world to higher performance in consoles, which closer than before, absolutely. But it's still a mobile development processor. And still a mobile development process. They are like the day they come to x86, then it'll be min-spec world and Nintendo will kill everyone. Like, I guarantee it. The day they release a hardware that runs the same underlying code as Microsoft, underlying architecture as Microsoft and Sony, they will take it over because everybody just loves Nintendo game. But until they do that, even if they do this, everyone will still enjoy MinSpec, and then you have to go port it for them.
Look,
How
in
long
some
will
ways,
that last?
I hope they have a
450.
horrible launch. They won't. But I hope they have a horrible launch, because then they'll get inch closer towards those. A little later, we'll put the game out on PC.
Yeah,
No.
it's
That's a future. That's a future.
Again,
that is a very
horrible launch.
Mm-hmm.
But they won't. They won't have a horrible
I'm going to
launch.
say this, gentlemen.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very interesting way. June 5th is only a couple of months away, and we know that they've been stocking these consoles. We still don't know when there's a pre-order date coming for both Canada and the United States. Hopefully, we get some information in the coming days. Nintendo, I think Nintendo is, even though we all expect it to sell out, we all expect them, people to line up, and buy the console and buy the games. Nothing's guaranteed, because you got to remember, we're in a recession. Nobody wants to admit it publicly, and I know we don't like the politics thing. We're going to get everyone out of here in a minute. But the thing is, people do not have the spendable money like they used to. And you got to remember, this is a console that's not $300 to launch. It is a $450 to $500 console, and there are $80 games. People are going to be less inclined to buy it. And we'll see if some of the stupid comments from Doug Bowser come back to bite them, because I actually think it will. But look, gentlemen, this was an amazing show. Everyone had outstanding points. We are at the almost. I think we're at $140. I want to thank everyone that took the time to hang out with us. We had almost 650 people watching live across. We have the one Twitch viewer, which is great. Thank you, Twitch viewer. We also have, of course, X, which we had almost 200 people watching, and most of the watchers came the way of YouTube. So thank you so much for checking out the channel. So a lot of new names here. Folks, we're on the cusp. We're about 160 away from 16K. So we're close. And if you're finding the channel for the first time, thank you, King David. We definitely appreciate it. And speaking of King David, let's sell your brand, brother, because obviously Xbox Frontline News is your personal YouTube channel that you work on every day. Every day there's a new video. Every day there's a great
it's up right now.
There you go. He put one
I'm
up.
in the chat talking to the guys right now.
Well, there you go. And again, thank you so much for being here, King. Super appreciate it. Of course, you're always fun and engaging. Sell the brand, brother. Where can people not only check out the Iron Lords on Sunday, which of course is your brothers, but we also want to funnel people over to you because you're closing in on 10K for your YouTube channel. You're at 9.1 something. And of course, if you're not already subscribed to King, I'm going to tell you this right now, folks, you're doing life wrong. So King, sell the brand, brother. Talk about it.
Thank you, Boom. Love hanging out with you guys. Love hanging out with Hard Geek. Love hanging out with Kay Asante. I'm going to tell you this. Kay Asante, thank you for bringing that book bag. Because you bringing that book bag gave somebody a wonderful birthday gift for me. And I'm telling you, I'm rocking that birthday gift. And I can't wait to get to LA to promote Xbox Frontline News. Y'all got to see how this book bag moves. I love you for doing that. I really do. Trust me. And I love the birthday giver who gave me that gift. I love him to death. I read his book always. That's in the windows because I don't want you harassing the man. But
that's right.
Boom. I hope this year that you go to Germany. Cog and I is gonna probably make it our damnedest to get over there to do that. That's something that's on the bucket list. And I did say, and I manifested the fact that this year we're going to LA, we're going to go to Germany, and we're going to Japan. Those are things that's on my bucket list as a journalist, as a gamer, as somebody who loves video games. But Xbox Frontline News is live right now. I drop videos 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every day. Frontline Gaming Streams is a separate channel. That's where you get to see me stream all my games. I stream PlayStation 5 Pro. I don't stream on that weak base. I don't do that. All right. I stream on my Switch, not that light. I stream on a real Switch, the one that actually switches. I stream on my Xbox Series X because I don't stream on my S because I'm going to give you the highest fidelity. And I also stream on my Steam Deck and on my PC. My ROG, I don't stream on my ROG. That's for my personal use. I got to keep something for myself. But, go to those channels, check me out, and check me out on Iron Lords Podcast Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where the boys get together and we have fun. But it's always a great time hanging out with the hardest working man in showbiz, my man Boom, my
Thank you,
brother,
brother.
like another from another mother, my brother that calls me and we sit on the phone while we doing domestic chores and working.
Indeed.
But it's a wonderful time hanging out with you guys because listen, I'm going to tell you guys, don't fear change. Change is inevitable. The world is not static. The world is actually moving in vibrations at all times. So fearing change is like fearing the sun coming up every day. It comes up different. It's a beautiful day. So we're going to do different things to get to different places and to have great different experiences. You don't want the same thing in games, right? So let's change it up. Let's mix it up. And Xbox is the only one doing that. These other dudes keep talking to you about, oh, how many console sales we have. Oh, you should just stick to one console because it's not cool. You need exclusives. When we all play, we all win. I've embraced it, and I've transcended. And you know who gives me the best value? For $20, I got it all. I got the world in my hand, man. You dudes got to figure out how to get those funds. And y'all eating ramen noodles. I'm having steak and lobster. And my $20 gets me the pass in. It's called a game pass. Understand it?
Well, there you go, brother. Well, listen, please subscribe to King David. He's funny to listen to, both in person and on the videos. He does videos every day. And if he always says, I'm the hard working guy, no, he works super hard because video work is hard. It's not easy to get on a microphone and just record. That's super easy. But all of the minutia of doing videos is a bit of pain. So he does it good. Thank you so much, King. Super appreciate it. Hargeet, brother, let's sell your brand. Not only did you write a book and release it last year called Emergence, you are on as many podcasts as I produce, I think at least 5, and you have your own YouTube channel. Sell the brand, brother. Where can people subscribe? And more importantly, not follow you on social media.
Yeah. So check out my channel, Hargeet Chani 1. I'm at 916. I'm trying to get to 1,000. Hopefully, we can do that soon.
Nice.
916 subscribers. So hopefully, we can get to 1,000 soon. I did put up a video for those who are looking at the PC world. I put up a video on how you can have it automatically update your video drivers, your audio, all that stuff, all the chipset drivers automatically on whatever schedule you want. Check that out. It's a couple of commands, and it just does it for you. You can schedule it out and set it and forget it, and that way it just keeps updating everything in the background. So check that out if you want. If you want to pick up my book, shop.chani.us, go check it out. And then I'll be on Friday, I guess. So hopefully, as long as there's nothing else coming up, with C Money and Doodle on Friday night at 8 p.m. ish U.S. Eastern Time on Point for Gamers, and then back with Fonz. Fonz Gaming Saturday 6 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, and with Web Dave 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time on Sunday. So check those out.
Appreciate it very much, Hargeet. And lastly, and not leastly, by any chance, Asante, brother, sell the brand. Where can people check out the podcast Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, with you and Everborn Saga on the newest episode? Talk about it, brother. Sell the brand. Where can people follow you and subscribe?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, thanks to all the people. Always great to see the great community in the chat, and of course, the awesome King David show up. Bless us. We appreciate you being here, sir. Always great to get a chance to chat with you, and of course, Hargeet, BoomStick. Always great to chat with the brothers on a weekly basis. But for us, you can find us this week. Of course, we will have the Gaming Circle podcast on Saturday. I have been championing South of Midnight. I have loved that game. There's been a lot of back and forth, a lot of conversations about that game. We interviewed the audio director for our show. The reviews are out, and as the dust is settling on that game and people are playing the game because it's out now, we are having some grown man spoiler discussions about that game because we feel that it warrants more than just a review score. So we actually have some recordings. We're going to be putting some up in the near future, working with possibly Mr. BoomStick and a few other individuals that we'll be working in the background, and you'll expect to see that in our channel on the feed very soon. So I would recommend you don't watch it until you finish the game. And for that matter, don't listen to the soundtrack until you finish the game, but then watch the discussion and listen to that soundtrack after you finish the game. Will really enjoy it. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you, brother. And of course, a big thank you to the super chats and channel member chats and channel memberships that support the channel behind the scene. Mrs. Boom and I are always going to be incredibly grateful for that. Thank you for tuning in and just checking out the show. Hit the like button on your way out. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully one day it's important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and Friends.